I think confidence in negotiations come with preparedness, knowing what you want, knowing your subject.
So when I go into negotiation, I go as myself. I'm smiling, but I know what I want. I'm not there talking like, I don't go with like, I'm myself, but I know what I want. I don't lose focus. This is what I want, but I would come in my feminine energy because that's my true power. Welcome to Negotiation Mastery with Dr. Gloria. In this podcast, we talk about various topics to empower women for leverage during negotiation. In each episode, you'll hear from accomplished men and women who have done a lot in their fields. They will share their negotiation tips with us and their journey. I'm your negotiation coach. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria. I'm board certified in internal medicine in the U.S. I have a master's in global health and a PhD in health services policy and management. Today, I have a powerhouse with me. She's lived across multiple continents. She has close to 2 decades of experience doing what she does. She is an accomplished author. She is a lawyer, and she's a real estate guru. I have with me Jennifer Arkhurst. Jennifer, welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Gloria. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here and share my experiences with your audience.
Yes. So let's just start so with my audience and my guests, I just like for you to share your experience, how you got to where you are in your career, and then how you got to Dubai.
Yeah, sure. I have always wanted to be a lawyer since I was the age of 15, because at that age, when we were kids, our dad started to ask us what our ambitions were. When we grow up, and for me, it was initially a air hostess, and my dad said, "No, that's not good enough," because I come from a family of lawyers, and especially my father's side of the business. My father's side of the family. So he kept questioning me multiple times, and then I just blurted out lawyer, and he said, "Okay, that's good." So that started my journey, and of course, I wanted to know whether I had the skill and appetite for law. So I took A-level law, and I came top of the class.
And that was in which country?
That was in England.
Okay, so you're from England.
Yes, I'm from the UK. So I should have said yes, I'm from the UK. And so that started my journey, and I went to university and went to law school, and I qualified as a UK solicitor.
Nice.
And when I qualified, I was very interested in the business community and business people. I was very intrigued. And that led me to specializing in corporate commercial law.
So how does that, so you do like is it like a bachelor's? Because different countries, every country is different. Like in the US, you do a bachelor's and then you go to law school. In Nigeria, you go straight to law school. And then how does it work in the UK?
In the UK, there are different routes to the profession. You can choose to study a law degree. Mm-hmm. You can have a degree in a different discipline and do a conversion exam to become a solicitor or barrister. And you have a different class of legal staff called legal executives. Okay. And they can get into the profession in the same way. And once you after your law degree, you choose. We have to choose whatever we want to.
You can't just be like, oh, I'm a lawyer, I'm just going to practice. You have to choose a specialization.
Not quite. In the UK, we have a split profession. We have the barristers, who are the advocates that tend to go to court quite a lot, and we have the solicitors. Okay. The solicitors have direct access and contact with the public. So they are the first port of call that the public will go to when they have a problem. And then if it needs to go to, the court, most often the solicitors will instruct a barrister. But over the years, the two professions have somewhat merged.
Oh, really?
So you get more and more solicitors going to the higher courts. But for now, House of Lords has to be a barrister. Solicitors are not allowed to go to the House of Lords.
So you have so for that you have to choose one. You can't be both if you go into the House of Lords.
Well, once you finish law school, once you finish your university degree, you have to choose which aspect of the profession you would like. Now, some students, get addicted to all of these TV shows where they see, actors pretending to be or acting as lawyers, and they like that court scene, so they just choose to be barristers.
Gotcha.
And then you have those who are more like people type lawyers. They like, to be around their clients and, listen to their problems. They are the ones that tend to choose the solicitor's profession.
I see. And so you finished your law school and then you decided to specialize in
corporate commercial. After my training, there's also that compulsory training. A lot of countries have this, whereby once you finish law school and you have to be trained for a certain period. Usually it's a minimum of 1 year with either barristers' chambers in England or solicitor's firm, because they want to train you in the skills of practice. Basically, it's because most of the time at university, and even when you're studying for a master's degree, you're just dealing with academic stuff, the knowledge. But once you get into the office, you need to know how to interview clients, how to research, client communication, so many skills.
The real practice of law, you have to learn that.
Yes, exactly. The real practice of law, yes. Now, in terms of what brought me to Dubai, I was headhunted and recruited by a Dubai-based oil company. It's government-owned. In 2008, to come over here and join their legal team. And the opportunity was an excellent one. The package was an excellent one. It was, I would have been silly if I had turned it down. And also, I'd already been in Dubai a couple of times with my mother. And, I liked the country. I liked the people. It felt so safe. And so that prompted me and gave me the confidence to come over here on my own. I was very brave in those days.
That was 2008.
That was 2008. I did not know many people, but, the pull was so strong that I came over here, and I've been here ever since.
And so when you got here in 2008, what have you done so far?
I was in the corporate world for a couple of years, I'll say about 4 years, and in 2012 I decided to branch out and set up my own legal consultancy stroke law firm. I started initially by helping individuals as well as small business owners and startups, the founders of businesses, because they found the lawyers very expensive. In the UAE, the fees were very high then. It's a lot better now. So I reached out to this community and I created my niche, and that made me very popular. It got me into the newspapers, it got me into the media, it got me the attention that I needed. And I carried on from there. And all I was doing was giving them, commercial advice, corporate advice, how to manage their business as well and minimize legal risk so they don't end up in courts in unnecessary litigation.
So what she said is true. She's given me a few advices today. So there are a few people you should know. There are a few people you should have in your close circle. One of them is a lawyer. So if you don't have any friends as lawyers, you should find one. So I want to ask you something, just for someone who is younger, who's just starting their career, or even anyone who's older. So what was it about you that made them reach out to you? I know times have changed, but what was it about your resume that made the government here in the UAE reach out to you in the UK?
Because there were synergies in the experience that I had and where I was working with oil and gas. I was working with an electricity company. It's the number one electricity provider in France. It's called Electricité de France. And before that, I had worked with a water company. So I was in the utility space, and I've done a bit of, working on gas, particularly in the UK. So the synergies were similar, and also the type of work that I've done, it was going to be a seamless integration into their legal department. Gotcha. And they figured that out during the interview. And so I was successful, and I got the job. And
So would it make sense at this point in time for someone who maybe just finishing their legal career and wanting to position themselves to be headhunted, or maybe to move over to the UAE to take that same path, or they don't need that anymore?
I think it's easier for experienced lawyers to get a foot in the UAE because right now it's very competitive in the legal profession. So some experience, perhaps 1 or 2 years in your home country helps you. You will find that there are some companies and recruiters that will insist that you have golf experience. And golf experience means basically you know how culturally how things work here in terms of business, and also you have some familiarity with the local laws. But that could be learned while you're in your home country. But there are other companies as well that just don't mind if you don't have it. For example, I secured a great job with government, and I didn't have golf experience. It wasn't a barrier for them. They were. You find a lot of times at interviews, the panel that is interviewing you are looking at your personality first of all. If they like you, then you're halfway there because your CV is what gets you to the interview stage. They already feel that you've got the experience and qualifications to do the job, but when you get into the interview,
it's your personality.
It's your personality that is your personality is the main thing.
Yeah.
And of course, they ask you a couple of questions just to build rapport and see how you're going to fit into the team and so on. But your personality should shine at interviews because most often it takes 5 minutes for them to make a decision.
To know if you're a good fit.
Yeah.
And because I did a podcast where I talked about the green flags and red flags if you're looking for a job. And the cool thing about the green and red flags is that because some people are just desperate to have a job, they don't realize the interview process is a two-way street. You are interviewing them and they are interviewing you, and you can also look for your red flags and your green flags to know if it's a good fit.
Yes.
So this show is called Negotiation Mastery, right? So we talk about all things negotiation. And lawyers, you all negotiate a lot. So you negotiate for yourself when you're trying to acquire clients. And once you have those clients, you are negotiating for those clients, right? So what would you say is your superpower when it comes to negotiation?
One of the superpowers is you have to have a lot of confidence, and you have to go into a negotiation meeting with a view to knowing what your outcomes are going to be. You have to go in there knowing what you want as a result of that meeting. But you find sometimes you have to compromise and,
be flexible.
Be flexible and get into a middle ground, because your client, for example, is sending you into a negotiation meeting and they want to close the deal. They don't want the lawyer to behave in such a way that the whole thing falls apart. They're not going to be happy with you. But yes, I have been in some negotiations where they're very tough, especially mergers and acquisitions, where you're buying and selling businesses and tensions are high all over the place and people want to finish things quickly. At times you don't agree on the terms of the deal and the contracts and so on. But that's that's basically it. And there's so many courses online as well as books and so on that you can buy and join, or online courses you can join to sharpen your negotiation skills.
But do you think this is what I think about confidence? I don't think confidence is a gift. I think confidence comes with experience, right? So the more you win, the more confident you become, and then the more you get beaten up, the less confident you become. So it depends on how much wins you have. So what I recommend for people who are trying to develop their confidence is just take little bites, but take bites. Don't sit down and wait for your confidence to just come. Take little bites, and then as you grow, you take bigger bites and take bigger bites. What are your thoughts about that?
I think confidence in negotiations come with preparedness, knowing what you want, knowing your subject. And you're going to find, there are going to be some meetings that you get into, and your opposing parties might try to be very dominated, and that tests your confidence. The whole idea is to shatter your confidence, but you got to keep up with it. And I think it comes with personality as well. Some people have stronger personalities, and some people just don't.
Right.
They may be very good at their subject, but they haven't got that strong personality. But whichever category you fit into, when you go into negotiations, you have to come across as a bit of a tough nut.
So do you think mentorship might have a role to play there, where someone, because you said some different personalities, for some personalities that are not very tough, do you think mentorship can help with that?
Mentorship helps a lot. I mean, I got my confidence, a lot of my confidence as a lawyer in my last job in the UK. I had a boss he used to work in the military, and he was tough on all of us. You couldn't make a mistake. And what he would do is that he will invite me to come along with him to very tough negotiating meetings. He will start, for example, the first session, he would do it himself, and he'll get me to observe how he's conducting the meeting. And the next time he'd go with me and push me to the front. And he used to say to me, you can do it. The problem with you is you lack confidence. You can do anything if you put your mind to it. So, yes, you're right. Coaching helps a lot in building one's confidence.
Yes. If you're lucky to have a good mentor.
Yes.
And he puts you, and that was what he did was just brilliant. He lets you watch him, and then he led by example. You watched him, and then he said, do the same.
Yes.
And it comes with experience as well. Like the more you do it, the better you become. You win, then I can win again.
Yes, exactly. And when I was a junior lawyer, I was always timid to try new things. I was always in my comfort zone, only wanting to deal with work that I had done before. But he used to push me and say, no, it's in your mind. You think you can't do it, but if you put your mind to do it, you can do anything.
Yes.
And that got me to change. For example, I have to review a piece of legislation or give advice, and I'll be like, I'm sorry, I'm not sure, I don't want to go into any meeting or tell the client a bunch of stuff that is not right. But he said, no, you can do it.
You can do it.
So yes, you need a mentor to build up that confidence if you don't have it already.
Yes. I don't think anyone has it or maybe we have it at birth. Then some people, they have families and friends who nurture it, while others don't have that. But you can always develop confidence. That's my belief.
Yeah, you can always develop confidence, and you need it particularly in business as well. As a female, you need it in business because you're going to walk into some meetings, and I had a lot of that experience when I came over here. I would walk into a meeting, and the majority of the people in the boardroom are all men. So what do? Are you going to sit there very quiet and not have any influence given the profession you belong to?
Yeah. Or
you're going to let your voice be heard?
So when you're in such meetings, do you take on a different persona, or do you negotiate just as you are, Jennifer, but you make sure your voice is heard? How do you handle such situations where you are the only woman in the room?
Well, it's a different form of training. When I was in the UK, I was trained such that you're a lawyer, you lead the meeting, regardless of whether you're a female or not, and it goes across all professions. When you get in there, you find that you're in a room where the people that are there rely on you for advice. So you need to take control of that meeting and steer it the way you want it to go. Now, coming to the UAE, it's a different culture because we're in the Gulf, we're in the Arab world, and certain cultures don't like women leading in that way. So you have to take a different approach whereby if there are some senior members of the company in the room, you let them open the meeting, and then you chip in when you feel your voice needs to be heard. But you can't, it's a cultural thing. You can't control the meeting, walk in there because they feel you're trying to boss them around. So allow them to speak.
I think that's emotional intelligence, knowing how to flex when you are in a different environment.
Yes.
Right? The world is very diverse, and then when you are in a different room, because your goal is to win, right? So, and whatever is ethical, whatever it takes for you to win ethically, you should do it. And if sensing the room and knowing, okay, I have to be my feminine energy to win, then you put on that feminine energy.
Yes.
And then when you go back to the UK and I have to be, but as long as, for me, this is how I see negotiation. I try not to, I am a sweet person by nature. I am, until you push me, then that's when that part of me that's really strong and forceful would come out. So when I go into negotiation, I go as myself. I'm smiling, but I know what I want. I'm not there talking I don't go with I'm myself, but I know what I want. I don't lose focus. This is what I want, but I would come in my feminine energy because that's my true power.
Yes. I think it differs in depending on different scenarios, because I've come across some ladies in the business community that Arabic, and they had to take a different type of approach in meetings where they had to be the tougher one because culturally they didn't want to be pushed around. They wanted to be heard. So I think it all depends.
So they had to flex and then put on.
They have to flex, yeah, because culturally they're not supposed to be as assertive as the rest of us that grew up in the West.
So here, how do you know when to be more assertive? How do you know when to still be firm but also soft while you push on your agenda?
I would say while you're in the meeting, you need to observe body language. I learned to read that as well. I learned to read body language as well. The body language tells you a lot.
It does.
So if you're being assertive and you're observing the people you're talking to, you can tell from the flicker in the eyes or, the gestures of the hands and little things. It tells you that you need to start backing down a bit. So, you have to train yourself. Negotiations is just all about that. It's not about what you say, always what you say, but it's observing, the body language of people around you, their facial expressions. Whether it's going well, it's not going well. And that tells you a lot. But it takes a while to hone on these experiences. And of course, if you have a coach can help you with a lot of that so that you become an expert in negotiations.
Yes. So what advice do you have for anyone? Just basic advice. If you're moving from any country to the UAE, what are the basic things people should know before they pack their bags and move here?
This is what I did, and I think it will work for everyone. In a lot of countries, when you go to the bookstores, you always find in the tourist section there are books to help tourists learn a little bit about a particular country before they get there. So if you want to go to Thailand, the do's and don'ts, a little bit about the culture. Those books will have the best tourist sites. So that's what I did. There was a book, and I still have that book at home. There was a book about Dubai, and so I picked that up, I bought it, and I read, and it told me a little bit about the culture of the people, and, certain things that you should not do. I mean, a typical example is that for the Arabs, if you cross your legs like that, and you're showing the soles of your feet, they find it offensive.
Oh, my. I gotta put my feet down.
Yeah, because typically in the West, men sit in such a way that they have one leg astride the other, and it's showing the sole of your feet. The Arabs find that offensive, so you don't do that. You don't chew or speak or chew chewing gum while you're talking to people. There were so many things in that book, and so I would advise people to learn, familiarize themselves with some of the culture, norms. You got to also remember that it's a Muslim country, so certain things that you can do in your home country is probably frowned on and not allowed here. And then once you get into the country, it's worth learning a little bit about the law that applies to the general public. You don't have to learn it as if you're going to become a lawyer. But there's so much information on the internet, if you Google it, that you can learn. And so you learn, so it helps to guide you so you don't get into trouble. Because something that you think is not too much of a big deal, it's a big deal here, for example. So those are the things that you can do.
So get a book or go on the internet and then learn about the culture before you immerse yourself into the community.
Yeah, before you immerse it. It helps you to integrate as well. Yes.
I agree. And I don't think it's just for the UAE because if you're going to move from any country to another country, I think it's just wise for you to learn about where you're going just so you don't make mistakes.
Yes, exactly.
Any country.
Exactly. Even as a tourist.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But even as a tourist, certain things are just a no-no. So you don't do it there to get yourself into trouble and things like that. Yes.
That makes sense. Maybe I need to borrow your book.
You're welcome.
Do you think that book will still be very relevant today?
Well, things have changed a little bit, but yes, it has some of the basic things that people ought to know about. Yes.
In my short time here, I've met a few entrepreneurs. Some who are just starting out and some who are seasoned in their industry. So what advice do you have for someone who wants to set up a business here in the UAE?
The UAE is a great place for business. There's so many opportunities for entrepreneurs and founders and startups. But these are some of the tips that I can give. Once you set up, because Dubai in particular is such a glamorous city.
It is very glamorous. If you've never seen pictures of Dubai, please go online. It's absolutely beautiful.
There is the temptation for the startups to want to show off.
Oh.
So they go overboard with their expenses, wanting to have too many staff in a short space of time, have expensive offices. But what they don't realize is that the UAE, compared to perhaps your home country, the banks, finance for startups and small business owners has always been an issue in that it's not easily accessible. So once you step into the business world, you're going to find it's not easy for you to get a bank loan. It's not easy for you to get a bank overdraft. It's not easy for you to get a company credit card. So you have to curtail your expenses.
So it's not easy to get a credit card?
You could probably get a credit card, but when you're going for loans, it's a problem because they've got a criteria in which they assess.
You need to have like return. You need to show like cash flow in your business.
Cash flow in your business. It also goes by how many years you've been in business. Because I mean, if you've been in business for just 1 year, then that's a tough call. You're not going to get a loan. The other thing is to be aware of how business is done here, because how to do business in the Arab world has got its own etiquette.
Like what?
I've been to a presentation on this, given by an Emirati many years ago when I started a business, and it's just very, very interesting.
Really?
Yes, there's so many interesting tips. The Arabs do business based on trust. And they got to see you almost like a friend. You can't go in there cold, and it takes them a while. You can't go into a meeting and expect to close a deal straight away.
Since it's trust, it has to be earned.
Trust has to be earned, yes. So it's worth bearing that in mind. But there's so many other things that one needs to learn, and you can learn this by going to business events. Again, there's so many here, and talking to entrepreneurs, because that's where you learn a lot about what to do and not what to do. I mean, for example, when I came into business, I was lucky to have 2 to 3 female entrepreneurs that were telling me exactly what to do. I'm telling you what to do and what not to do to be successful. So those are one of the things, to curtail your expenses and also not to expand too quickly.
Yeah.
Because there's always that temptation, let's go and get another office, let's go into another country.
Yeah.
You need to take those, baby steps. And there's quite a lot to learn in addition to what I've just spoken about.
So have you seen businesses close just because they didn't put all of these things, because they did these things you're talking about, like
the shelf life for a lot of startups usually, most startups here don't last for more than 18 months.
Oh, wow.
Unless they get things right.
Yeah.
And they probably need coaching as well.
Oh, wow. Do you know what percentage closed down in less than 2 years? Is it
I don't know the percentage. I don't know the percentages, but it's common. Yeah, it's common because a lot of them will come up with an idea, and they, in order to scale that idea and implement it in a big way so that the business is successful, they need funding.
Right.
And it's not easy to get investors. So if you can't get investors, then that's and then you've got so many expenses as well, then that's
it's game over.
It's game over. A lot of them also, a lot of entrepreneurs come here as well and feel they can do it on your own.
Yeah.
You need a business coach. I have business coaches, and they a lot of them are based in the US. I've got the likes of JT Fox, Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, and they all have coaches. they all tell us that, you can't do it on your own. You need somebody to
walk you through the process.
To walk you through the process, to hold your hand all the time. And it's a very good investment. So that is something as well that I would advise people to have, because you find an idea that could work in your country, you bring it over here and it just doesn't work. People don't take up.
Because it's a different.
It's a different environment. I'll give you a typical example of a friend of mine that I know. She's a lawyer. She's very good at designing, and she was designing the local clothes here, a bias, but it was mixed with fur. Very, very, very nicely crafted garments, but it just didn't take up because the Arabic ladies here like to wear their native clothes with jewels. They're more into jewels and then all the sparkles than fur.
I think fur is more like European and
more European and Russian.
Cold
Yes,
weather,
exactly.
not like here where it's warm.
Yes, so it was a very beautiful idea. She was part of fashion shows. I bought some myself, but it didn't take up in a big way. That's just one example. Another example is a law firm that I knew that was specializing in trademarks and intellectual property.
Okay.
They're big in the UK, good name, very knowledgeable lawyers. But unfortunately, they had to close down and pack up and go back in no time because a lot of the small business owners here don't care about trademark registration and all of this stuff. And it's so difficult to get a patent anyway for an invention. So they had all the good intentions to help out, but the business is just not there.
So would you recommend someone kind of like you test the market first before, setting shop?
That's what some companies do. They have there are some businesses here that help with feasibility studies and so on. So they, depending on your idea, they can give you guidance as to whether it's going to take up in a big way or whether you need to tailor your business in a different way to make it successful. So it doesn't apply to every business, but depending on what the business is, it's worth having a feasibility study to see if your idea is going to be successful or not.
Let's switch the conversation to another gear, something that's dear to my heart, which is real estate. Yes. Tell me about your experience in real estate.
I've always loved real estate, and I've been.
Did you play Monopoly growing up? The game.
I played Monopoly a lot. Yes, I played Monopoly growing up, and I've been invested in real estate since 2003. So that got me interested in real estate.
You started really early.
Yes, I started very early. I love properties. I love interior design. And when I walk into a room, the first thing I notice is the decor and the ambience of the place. And I started coaching investors on real estate here, and particularly off-plan. Because a lot of them don't know how it works, they don't understand the processes.
Because some of our viewers are in the US, and off-plan is not really popular in the US. Can you explain what off-plan is?
Yes, off-plan is where you buy a property before it's actually built. You're buying it based on the presentations made by developers, brochures, presentations, and the reputation of the developer, the design, the location, and so on. But you haven't seen a property, and you're not going to see it for a few years. So that is off-plan. You're buying it off the plan. It hasn't been built yet. As opposed to a house that is already ready, you can walk in and out of it, and you can get a feel of it, and then you buy. So that's what off-plan is. And I started coaching, investors on off-plan because there was so much litigation in the past around off-plan where people get things wrong or they don't understand how it works. Here and in other countries, because off-plan is the same. The concept is the same in almost every country. For example, you get excited, you go to a presentation, you love what they're saying, you put
a good chunk of money down.
A good chunk of money down, but you're not sure where the rest is coming from. No. What people don't realize is that when that time comes and you don't pay, according to the laws in this country and the contract you would have signed with the developer, they can take that property away from you, including the money that you've paid a deposit, and resell it to somebody else. There were also issues around completion because some investors don't understand the contract that they've signed. So the idea of when the project should complete is not actually what the paperwork is saying. A lot of investors as well don't realize that in this region, in this country, the UAE, once you sign an agreement with a developer, the terms are not negotiable
anymore.
Everybody signs because from an administration point of view, it's going to be too tough for them to administer.
To tweak the contract for each person.
It's different, yes. So everybody signs a standard contract, and it's basically a take it or leave it approach.
Yeah.
You either like what you've read or you don't. But the best thing is that with any off-plan investment, before you sign the paperwork, it's worth getting a lawyer to get an overview to explain
the terms and conditions
to you, so you understand what you're getting into. And if you don't like it, then you just
let it go.
Let it go.
So I have this question for you based on this off plan. So you pay a certain percentage before the building is complete, and when it's complete, when it's time to hand over to you, then you pay what's left. Is there the option of getting mortgage from banks for the other parts? Yes.
The regulations change from time to time, but typically when you purchase an off-plan property, the developer will offer you stage payments against construction. So when it gets to a certain stage, and all of that is going to be in your contract that you sign with them, you call on the rest of the money, that stage payment, and you got to pay it. And then according to the rules in the UAE, particularly Dubai, the property has to be constructed to a certain level and is checked by the government before you'll be entitled to apply for a loan, a mortgage. So it's worth having all your ducks in a row and having all your money together, at least 50% before you embark on off-plan.
So is it possible to sell? So maybe you put let's say whatever percentage is the required percentage, you put that. Is it possible for you to say, all right, so now it's complete, I want to sell? Is that possible?
It's not down to the investor, but it's down to the regulations in real estate, especially around off-plan. So the government stipulates that you can only sell when the project in your property has been built to a certain level.
Okay. So let's say it's built to a certain level, it's time to hand over, and you've paid 50%, whatever the initial what's required for you. Is it possible? And then you don't have you don't get a loan, you don't have the other money you don't have cash and you don't get a loan. So can you sell at that point?
Yes, you can sell.
Okay.
You can sell prior to handover.
Okay.
Yes.
So there's still hope.
Yeah, there's still hope. And there's a lot of investors that don't buy to keep, especially off-plan, because as the property is being built, the price starts to rise. So you find quite a number of them, before handover, they flip the property. That's the term that is used in the real estate market. They flip it over to another buyer. Take the profits and then move on to the next project. Yes.
And based on your experience, what percentage of return on investment do people get at the point of flipping?
It depends on which project you are invested in and whereabouts it is in the country and the developer. There are some projects that can scale up, in terms of building equity so fast.
Okay.
And so once you flip it, I mean, I've heard of cases where people have bought something, for example, for $1 million dirham, and by the time the property is being completed, they've made 700 to $1 million profit, and they flip it over.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So it's all dictated on the market conditions and how properties are rising generally. But yeah, there are people that have made a lot of money on doing that. They're professional flippers, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And flipping is different in the US. In the US, is that you see a building, you do the renovations and then you flip. But here, but here it's that. Well, it's kind of similar, but still different. But here is that. You buy it off plan and then flip before it's in the market.
Yes, you flip before it's in the market. Yes.
You know one reason why I admire you a lot is that I wanted to be a lawyer.
You did?
I did. From when I was 3, so you can imagine. When I was 3, I wanted to be a lawyer till when I was like 15.
Okay.
So that was a dream I had for a long time, and it was my mother who made me change my mind. I'm grateful.
Become a doctor.
Yeah, because she's a nurse, right? She just kept encouraging me. Even when chemistry was hard for me, she made sure I attended a private school, got me a private teacher. I just have to. She had invested so much. I said,
You became a great doctor.
Thank you. It's the greatest honor of my life to be a doctor. So I'm thankful to my mother. I don't have any regrets, and I still have people like you. One of my sisters, she's a lawyer. I have people like you in my life, so I still kind of still enjoy hearing about the law, vicariously through you guys. And you talked about you would have been a flight attendant. So if you wasn't law, what do you think what other career would you have chosen?
I admire pilots.
Oh, wow.
If I was to come back into the world again, I'll be a pilot, not a lawyer.
What?
I just love being high up in those altitudes. My best experience in flying is the takeoff. That's what people are scared of when it goes, Yeah, no, I
that's what you like.
I love the takeoff. Yes, I think they do a great job. And whenever I see the pilots in their uniforms, especially the captains, I really admire them. They do a great job. Especially those that fly the A380s, which are like the jumbo jets. It's awesome. It's awesome. Because when you're in those planes, when they turn, you feel it.
You feel it, yeah.
Yeah, they're so huge, and for them to fly such,
huge,
humongous, jets, it's awesome. Yeah, it's awesome.
So you either would have been a flight attendant or a pilot.
A pilot. I'd rather be a pilot. When we were all young. We thought it's very sexy to be a flight attendant. They look so nice. Nice makeup, nice hair, and they speak so nicely. Yeah. I think it is so many kids that love to be a pilot, and someone want to be a policeman, someone to be a fireman, because you think it's so sexy.
Yeah, and then when you get older, then you're like, no, I want to do something different.
Yeah, you want to do something different.
Yeah. So your law firm has an academy called the BornLegals Academy.
Yes, we. This is something that I came up with. It was an idea, and it's simply built around my own experiences. Training as a lawyer in the UK. Because what I found in my time, there were so many students that were stuck. In the system, they would pass all of the exams and they can't get jobs. They can't get the compulsory training that they need to qualify as lawyers. And it affected primarily, on the main, the students coming from the minority groups, what you call cultural groups, whether they are Pakistan, Black, Caribbean, Chinese. So the first thing I did, and I was observing the same thing here in the UAE. Okay. There's so many of them, brilliant, they've got master's degrees, even in law, but they can't get a job, or they would manage to get some work experience for a month or so with a law firm, but get back to where they started. So the idea of the academy, and before I set up the academy, I wrote a book, which is on ebook. It's for parents and students to learn how to navigate the legal profession. There's just a lot more to it than just passing exams. So the academy is an extension of the book, what I write in the book. And it's basically training them on very good skills. I even train them on dining for lawyers.
Really?
Yes, when you're in a very professional setting as a lawyer, how you expect to dine, which forks and knives to use for what. And then you have practical exercises as well. I have there, and so many other things, and guides for them, and forums where they can exchange, experiences. And I give them exercises, and I actually market for them to tell them how.
So what's the enrollment process into this academy?
At the moment, I have a free admission.
So it's a rolling. Do you have like a time of the year, or people can join in any time?
People can join anytime, but it's strict for a week because I want the students to be focused.
Oh,
it's an 8-week intense online academy. So I want them to be dedicated, and so they join, and everything I need to teach them is on there. But in addition, I have some of them come into my office so they can experience a lawyer's office, and I give them exercises to do. But it's very intense. It's got everything that they need to know, all the skills, and in particular, one of the key things to being successful in the legal profession and in other professions is networking.
Oh yeah,
networking is the key. It'll get you very far. So this is what I teach them. How to do it, where to go, joining university first, recruitment first, and if your parents or you happen to know any lawyers that are already in the system, networking with them to get opportunities for jobs and work experience and so on.
So how this question just popped in my head. So let's say, let me use the US as an example because that's the place that I know. So let's say, for example, you finish training in the UK and you want to practice law in the US, then you have to take the bar exam. Is there something similar here in the UAE?
Not at the moment. I mean, they have the equivalent of what you call a bar school, but it's only for the citizens of the Emiratis.
Okay.
Every foreign lawyer that is practicing here already has their bar exams and some experience in their home country, and they come here and start to practice straight away. And then you need to learn the local laws very fast. You need to give yourself at least 6 months to a year to learn it fast. But because the laws here keep changing, you have to keep your knowledge up. But you don't need to go to a bar school here to practice here, no.
Are there any countries that they accept, or can you come from any country in the world and then practice law here?
You can come from any country, but you find that if you have your experience and education from a Western country, it helps you a lot. It puts you at a better advantage. If you have like a master's degree or even a PhD, because in this region they really respect education. Yes, it puts you at a competitive advantage over the other candidates that will be looking for the same job. But you don't need to do a bar school training here.
So do you think maybe someone comes from a different country and they want to practice law here, going through they might be like a seasoned lawyer somewhere else, but they don't have the UAE experience. Do you think it would be helpful for them to do your 8-week academic course?
No, because my academy is designed for school leavers.
For younger people.
And for students that are in university about to graduate, those that have just about graduated but are about to go to law school to do the bar.
Gotcha.
So it's a very niche segment of people that I'm training. If you have lawyers that are coming from other jurisdictions and want to work here, I can give them guidance, but they don't need to go to my academy because my academy is just way above them. It's way below them. Yeah, way below what they need to know.
Okay,
yes.
I see.
So,
wow.
But academy is good too. Another thing that encouraged me to set it up as well is because over the years, I've had so many parents that are not lawyers. They haven't got any lawyer in the family, but their son or daughter has shown an interest in becoming a lawyer, and they are lost. Particularly which university to take to choose.
You know what? You're right. The same thing with medicine. Like, I'm the first physician in my family. I was just finding my way. I was just trying to figure things out. I have nieces and cousins who are coming after me. It's a lot easier for them because I'm just giving them that guidance. So if you don't have anyone who's gone before you in your family, it's tough.
Yes, it's tough. And, what I try to explain to these parents is that the choice of university either makes or breaks your daughter in our profession.
Oh, really?
So
I can see like someone who goes to Harvard Law is
exactly. So it's all in the league tables. If you go to universities in one of those higher leagues, then it just paves your way for everything. Actually, they get the best training contracts. Afterwards, they get the best jobs.
They get the best salaries.
But some parents don't know, and they think, oh yes, he got into this university, now will be fine. But
no.
Yes, they will make it eventually, but
they'll struggle.
They will struggle along the way, and their peers will gain.
The journey will take them longer.
The journey will take them longer. The journey will take them longer.
So you've written a few books. Do you mind? You kind of talked about the one that led to you creating the academy, but I think you've written a book on real estate. Can you tell us about the books you've written and where we can get those books to read if you want to buy those books?
Yes, I've written quite a number of books. I can't remember how many now, but there's so many. But there are lots of them around real estate. One of them is around the holiday rental industry, because that's something that I've been in, for a long time, since 2005.
Whoa.
There's a way in which you can run these businesses to make them successful. And I've written a book around it. The book is around the knowledge I acquired before I started and my experiences to date. From simple things like how to decorate the property and how to choose the right property manager, because that can be a challenge.
Can you give us one tip on how to choose the right property manager?
Choosing a property manager for a holiday rental is different from choosing a property manager for a long-term rental. Because with a holiday rental, there's more interaction between the guests and the property manager. But your property manager has to have an idea of the hospitality industry, what works, how to treat the guests, because that's what you're doing. The holiday rental industry is nothing different from going to a hotel. Yes, it's nothing different, because the hotels are your competitors.
Yeah.
So whatever the hotels are doing, you have to try and implement. So it's meeting and greeting the guests and being available, making sure the property looks great, and being on board all the time to be attentive to fix things. If, say, for example, the fridge is playing up, immediately we are there. Being available 24/7 to answer questions, inquiries. And there's so many things, but not everybody that you come across is going to be a good property manager for your business.
Sure.
And a bad property manager can make or break you, because if the guest has a bad experience,
they're going to leave a negative review.
They'll leave a negative review. They'll tell their friends, and they're all not coming.
Right.
So it's very important. You can have a good property manager goes hand in hand with a nicely decorated property.
Right.
So you can have a nice decorated property, but if the property manager is not good, they could potentially ruin your business.
I agree 100%.
Yes. And the other books that I've written around on the main off-plan, and I wrote one on timeshare, the timeshare industry in Dubai.
Does it still exist?
Yes, the timeshare is, but now it's very selective which companies are allowed to operate this business. Is being restricted by the government, but timeshares as well. People just don't understand it, and when investors come here, and timeshares are in a lot of countries, the investors need to figure out whether they actually want to buy a property if they've got the finances to do it, or go into timeshares. Now, I've heard some of the timeshare investors say, we have a property in Dubai, but they don't have a property. You're renting, what you have is you have ownership of a certain allocation in a year, where you can come with your family and friends to enjoy the place. So you're just two completely different.
Did you ever invest in timeshare yourself?
No, I never invested in timeshare. I never invested in timeshare because the information out there says it's not particularly a good investment.
Yeah. I've gone for multiple presentations, and there was this time I was this close to buying. I was this close, but I went back home. I'm like, no. I'd rather just buy.
It's a market for those who want to save. They like to explore different countries, but they haven't got the finances to have a holiday home.
Or for people who are retired, because that's what I feel. Because you need to have time. If you don't have vacation time, then it really makes no point in.
Yes, you're right. If you don't have vacation time, then it doesn't make much sense, because you might as well wait until you come to Dubai and go to Los Angeles and just stay in a hotel.
That's what I thought.
Because you'll be invested in something that you're not going to use. Yes.
Or you because you have that, and you start looking for friends who would use it, and that was what made it. It didn't make sense to me. I'm like, how am I gonna? So even if I need to work, then I'll be like, no, I have timeshare. I have to go use my timeshare. Then I didn't want anything that would control me. I wanted that flexibility that if I want to travel, I can travel, and if I don't want to travel, then I don't have to travel.
Exactly. But you find there's timeshare companies that have option with other international providers where you don't have to, for example, come to Dubai every year to use your timeshare. They've got a system whereby you can go to another country where you're affiliated with, just stay in Los Angeles or Jamaica or somewhere and use that. Yeah, use that. But you have to like traveling. to buy timeshare.
You have to like traveling, and you have to have the time to travel.
Yes, exactly, for it to work.
Yeah, for me, it was then. At that time, I didn't have time as much as I have now, but it just didn't make sense to me. And I'm like, I'd rather have that flexibility and then travel when I want to travel, and then choose not to if I don't have the time for it.
Right. Okay. So I wrote a book on timeshare in Dubai because there were lots of investors that just didn't understand
before
how
they
it
have
works.
property in Dubai,
You know,
and then you bust their bubble, boom, you're like,
and they want to seek advice from lawyers while you're there. You know, they're in a holiday mood, they're happy, and they're cloud nine. And, you know, they get approached by the timeshare companies, and they just sign things without understanding what they're signing. And there's nothing wrong with the timeshare, but when expectations are not met, you start running and complaining.
Correct. So it's a case of you should be informed. You should make an informed decision, not an emotional decision.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
What other books have you written?
I've written books on off-plan. I've had checklists of, for example, what you need to carry out due diligence, how to carry out due diligence on the developers, what to look out for, the whole buying process. I also have a legal checklist as well. And I think that's about it. But, yeah.
So what nugget do you have? What piece of advice do you have for my listeners before we wrap it up? One last thing.
Have confidence in yourself, because it's always said you have to be able to live your dream, because we are all here for a reason, and if you have got a particular passion, and you want to bring it to life, go for it. Don't let anybody stop you. And be very confident in yourself. You have to have confidence in yourself, and it's good to be a little bit creative as well, and fulfill your ambitions. Because we were all born with a particular gift, and it's up to you to find what your gift is. Your gift could make you a millionaire, you never know. But if you keep it, hidden beneath your pillowcase in your bed, it's not going to happen. You're going to be the one that keeps dreaming about winning the lottery. It's probably not going to happen. So yeah, that's my advice.
So have confidence, and then take that step and begin to act in your gifting.
Yes, and if it's always important to have coaches and people that can guide you as well. Don't try to do things on your own. No, it doesn't work all the time.
So where can my audience find you?
We are, I'm not difficult to find. I'm on almost every social media platform. You can find me on TikTok. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. You can, we've got websites on the internet. We're on LinkedIn, so if you Google my name, you will find me in most places.
Okay, so we'll have all the links on the show notes so they can click and they interact with you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Jennifer, I've enjoyed talking to you. This has been so educative for me, and I think my viewers too would learn a lot from listening to you.
Likewise, thank you for having me.
My absolute pleasure having you. So thank you so much for listening to this episode of Negotiation Mastery with Dr. Gloria Esomene. I urge you to subscribe, share this episode with your friends and loved ones. And if you have any questions, you can leave them. You can send me a private message, or you can leave it in the comments. If it's for me or if it's for Jennifer, I can send it to her, and then we'll get back to you. As you always know, I strongly believe that you have the potential to be great. Do not think small, dream big, go be great. Thank you.
Thank you for listening.